Hi, good afternoon, Joe here at Woollycock. Joe, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. This week is your next instalment for a Back to Basics video. This is part 3 of my Inkle theme. So Inkle weaving, band weaving, that sort of thing. So I'm just taking you down some really simple band weaving designs just to get you started and give you a taste for it, okay? I'm not that technically adept where it comes to picking out strands and stuff like that to make patterns and letters and stuff. It's not really the sort of thing I want to do, but it's something we might experiment on another time later down the line. But that's not to say that you can't come up with some really lovely designs with band weaving, and they use it for bag straps and that sort of thing. Bag straps, making dungarees at home, you can use them for dungaree straps as well with your little buckles. You can buy them online. You can make belts from them. You can either as a tie or with a ratchet buckle that you used to get in the clothes on your, it's like an elastic belt we get when we were kids. What else can you use them for? You can sew them all together and use them for making bags as well, or part of binding on the edge of jackets or clothes that you've maybe made that you don't want to put button bands on, so you can use this sort of thing. So what we're going to be doing this week is the wave. Okay, so you've got singles and double bands, and it looks like it's a wavy line. Okay, so I will pop up the little pattern that I've just sketched out. I'm going with cream. I'm doing cream, and I'm going to do this pewter grey. And we're doing single and double stripes. I'll pop the picture up there. I've done a little sketch, and it's heddles and unheddle, which is your H and your U. These brackets down here, so that's the single strand, and you'll see I've placed in the camera so you can see me doing the warps from different angles. So that's a single strand, single strand, single strand in grey. So that one's going to be heddled, that one's going to be unheddled, that one there is going to be heddled. Then we go into this next group here, okay, and I'm going to change and attach on my cream, and the cream's going to be unheddled first, then it's going to be heddled. Then I flip back to the grey and unheddle and heddled. And then I'm going to come down and it says ×3. So I need to repeat this here 3 times. So I go back to the cream, unheddled, heddled, grey, unheddled, heddled. And then repeat that one more time. And I'll go unheddled in the cream and heddled in the cream. And then back to the grey and do unheddled and heddled. Then I go into this next section, and I repeat the same sequence of heddled and unheddled in the colours. Each block equates for 1 row, and then it's telling me that I need to do that 3 times. So I'll repeat this design another 2 times for it to be completed, and then you finish off with a 3-band heddle ridge on that side on the end. Okay, but I'll talk you through it. I'll get you set up. Then I'll weave with you for a little bit, and just to get your tension in, and I'll show you a technique as well that you can use just to help straighten out your warp at the beginning. I don't use this method, a lot of people don't, but sometimes some of you may feel it's quite a nice thing to do just to get you going and have a bit more flow to start with. Yeah, and then I will carry on with this off camera, and I'll get to the end and we'll finish it off, and then we'll have a little chat at the end of this. Okay, so I've got my heddles ready. You want to use this section, the top bar, and this section. This one I can adjust to any height that I want to. So sometimes I find that my heddles, the tension is not tight enough, or it's too tight, then I just move this with the heddles on there once it's all ready. But that's because I've got an adjustable one. I can move it to any height I want to, or feel I need it for. So when I warp this up, it's going to go from this front bar, and I'm going to put a loose knot round here, or I'm going to wedge in this little bracket here. I can unscrew my front bar and my front peg, and I can just slot it down that gap there and close that over until I'm ready to finish off and tie up at the end. Once I've done that, it's going to go from here. I'll turn this around so you can see. So it's going to go from this front bar once I've got it on this end. I'm going to ignore this. This is my tension bar. I'm going to leave that where it is for the moment. But from here, I'm going to go up to my top bar, and then I'm going to come around the back, and I'm going to come down the bottom, and then I'm going to come around my tension bar, and then I'm going to come down this bottom end and underneath, and then wrap it round up here. Okay, that's the length that I'm going to do it. It's not a massively long one, it's only for demo purposes, but that's what I'm going to do. And then when I come to do my unheddled, I'll start back here again, and I'll come up through these two, up to this back one, down this back, over my tension peg, my adjustable tension peg, and I will bring it all the way around here to the back peg, and then back up here into this front one. Okay, so I'm going to turn it like this so you can see what I'm doing from the front, and then when I get on a little bit further, I will move the camera around so you can see what I'm doing from the sides as well. But I think watching it from the front is probably better for you, because we've already covered how it needs to be wrapped on the first video that we did for these. But I will bring you around so you can have another look and just a bit of a refresher. Okay, so I'm going to start with my grey. I'm going to put it around here. I'm going to just loosen off my tension, and I'm going to a decent length to work with. I'm going to slot that down there, but I'm also going to get my second colour that I'm going to work with, and I'm going to slot them both down at the same time, because I'll be getting that one in 3 strands worth, and then I'm just going to wedge them in place so they won't come out. Okay, so firstly I want to get my grey, and this one says it's going to be a heddle, and you'll see up here, I've popped the picture up in this top corner. Okay, and you can follow along with me if you want to. So I'm going to go up my top bar, over my back top bar, underneath my second bar, all the way over to my tension, bring it all the way back down to my bottom corner. Hold on a minute, I'll do it from underneath this one. I may take the, actually I will take this off so it's not in my way. I don't need it. I'm not doing a massively long weave, so I'm going to pull that round to my back bar, my back peg, and loop it around my front. Now my next strand, I need to have an unheddled strand, so I'm going to repeat this, but I'm going to go through this gap here and up to my back bar. Now I haven't done my heddle yet, I do that in a minute. It's just the way I like to do it. So then I bring it around my back bar, back over my tension, my tension peg, all the way around to my back bar, and then I just wrap that around there. Now I get my heddle, because I just want to make sure that my lining's all right and that I've got it how I want it to look first. Then I'll start putting my heddles on as I work. So I'm just going to bring it round the back, and I'm going to push that over there. Then I'm going to loop it over there. Okay, now I'm looking at this before I get any further, and I can see I want to ideally make sure that this is in the same place as this, but it's not. So what I want these to be aligned with each other, this unheddled one and this one here, I ideally want them to be aligned. So I'm just going to push these over a bit, and I'm going to have to just tweak with this to get it to the tension that I want it. So I may have to bring this bar down, this peg, because it's an adjustable peg. If I was using my little Inkle loom, there's no adjustments on there. It's just set up in such a way that I know exactly what I'm doing with it. But with this one, I'm still tinkering with it. So I just need to bring this peg down, and I ideally want, there we go, I want that to be in line with this one. So the unheddled strand here is sitting in the same place as the heddle strand is, hopefully. It just helps with your tension, and it helps with your when you go to push down the warp. Just fiddling about with this butterfly knot on the back here. There we go, that should work. Now if I tighten up my warp, I've nearly got it working together perfectly, nearly, but it's not that much of a difference. I mean, I could maybe bring down this top heddle so it comes down one, but no, I'm quite happy with the way that is, as long as it's not too far for me to pull this fibre up this way to open up the shaft, and then just down that way. So you want to, in the ideal world, have your unheddled and your heddled strands sitting about the same level in an ideal world. So now I've got to do another heddle warp over here, bring it round the back, underneath that one, over the top of my tension. Now when you're doing your tension bar, your peg, you want to try and move it as far forward as you can. Not all the way forward, because you need to have a bit of wiggle room so you can tension, but you don't want it all the way back here. Otherwise what ends up happening is the tension that's going into the weft and the warp of the weft going in, the fibres start to crimp up. So it actually makes the band shorter because of the tensioning and the fibres all being sandwiched together. So it actually ends up to a point shortening your warp. So as you're working along, especially if you're working with long pieces, you really want to have your tension bar further towards you, so that as you're creating a tension in there and you're pulling the tension towards you, once you've moved it along, your tension peg will end up further back this way. So you do, in an ideal world, want to make sure that this has got plenty room for manoeuvring around. So if I wanted to now, I could just unloosen this before I go any further and just pull that forward a little bit more. Make sure it's got a nice good tension to there, and then carry on. So I'm just going to finish off this third colour. So I've got 3 in grey, and what I'm going to do with this, while it's out the way, just move those over, straighten this and tidy it all up as I'm going along. So I'm just going to get my grey, and I'm going to push it over there and just swap over my cream for a second. I'm going to grab one of my heddles and I'm going to put that over there, and I've just done a second over the top bar heddle. Bring that over here and bring that into position. Okay, so there we go. So that is my 3 greys. Now I'm on to the creams. So the creams, I have to do a cream unheddled and a cream heddled. So firstly, it's an, oh, wrap around my finger. It is a, first is a, I'm going to wrap that around there so I can just, it's an unheddled. So in between these two and round the back, behind that bar there, around my tension peg, and around to my back beam in the far corner, down the bottom, and around. The next one is a heddled cream. So I'll come back up over the back bar, underneath this one, and follow my strand, my warps from the previous actions round the back, and leave that like that, and swap that over now for the grey, because I'm going to be working with the grey next. Okay, so I'm going to grab my heddle and I'm going to catch this cream, bring it down onto its heddle, bring that down like that, blah blah blah. There we go. Now it's going to be loose because obviously I'm working between colours, so when you go back onto the colour, just give it a gentle tug to help tighten up that warp again, to give it a bit of tension. So I'm now onto the grey, and this time we want an unheddled grey and we want a heddled grey. So unheddled is first on the little sequence there in front of us. So we're going to go under or between these two pegs into the back one. Just follow the lines of what I've done previously, all the way around to the back bar and back to the front. Now I want to do a heddled version, so I'm going back over the top bar, over the back, follow my flow of the warps I've done already, and bring that round to the front, and then swap that for my cream. So I'm just going to push these over a bit, and I'm going to get my heddle for this one. So pull my heddle out, bring that down, put it over the top. As I say, it's all a little bit loose at the moment because we're working. Now I've got to repeat that twice. So I'm going to do 2 creams, 2 greys, 2 creams, 2 greys. And then that's that little sequence changed up. Okay. So I'm just going to ever so gently just give a little tug on the cream threads that I've used already. I'm just going to push the ones I've just been working with and help straighten them out so it's easy to work with. And now go with my cream, which will be again an unheddled, so between the heddle peg and the top peg, over to the far back top pegs, and then just follow my work around the back. Next one is a heddle from the cream, so I'm going to come over the top, over the back, around there, over my tension, around the back bottom peg, and then back to my front. And because I'm changing colour, I'm going to put my cream to one side and I'm going to grab my grey. I have got a heddle warp that I need to tie now, well, attached to the heddle peg, so loop that over the bottom, bring that over the top and put that over my peg, and that tension will tighten up in a minute. So I'm going to go back with my grey. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a tug, but I'm also going to push over the strands that I've just been working with so they don't get twisted up with the one I'm about to do. So again, the grey on the next section is unheddled, so in between the bars, around the back, follow your lines. And then the next one of the grey again is a heddled one, so it's over the top, over the back, and then work my way around to my tension peg, around the back heddle, and then swap that there. And then we're on the last repeat. It was 3 repeats of 2 cream, 2 grey. Okay, so firstly, before I go any further, I want to grab my heddle because we've just done a heddled. So grab that, put that over there. Okay, push these around. A bit twisted, push them over, make it neat and tidy so you can see the work and you can see the strands now. So I just need one more pair of these strands, which is cream again, and once again it says to me I need a unheddled strand, so underneath and around the back. And then the next one, the last of the cream on this repeat, is over for a heddle, round the back. Oh, that's what I've done wrong. Hold on a minute. Forgot to pull it all the way around the back there. There we go. Round the back, underneath, and the back one, and then plop that to one side. Push those over, make it neat and tidy. Okay. Now we're going to do the grey, which is the last of this small repeat, which you can see in the box. Okay, so the next one again, hold on a minute, I forgot my heddle. Get your heddle, collect that up there, put that over there, pin it down, loop it over, and there's your heddle in place. Back to my grey. Again, grey says it wants me to go unheddled first, so in between those two, up to the top back bar, around, over my head, my tension peg, round the back peg, and then back over the front. Then I'm going to go for a heddle, so over the top bar, round the back, loop it round, over my tension, and round the back. Okay, so with that, I'm now going to get my heddle. I'm just going to neaten these up a bit, push them over. Just tidy up as you go along so you don't get yourself in a muddle. Okay, so my hand cut, knotted, double knotted, loop over there. Now, the next column, take that off there, and I will just pop this up on the screen. Oh, the next column is this one here. So the next I'm doing 4 cream warps and 4 grey warps. Okay, so for the next 4 strands I'm going to be unheddled, heddled, unheddled, heddled. Then I'll change it over to grey and I will be unheddled, heddled, unheddled, heddled, and then I'll repeat that. Once I've finished that sequence, I will do that another 2 times. Okay, so cream first, because the last one was grey and my diagram tells me that I have to work with cream next. So once again, in between, this is unheddled, so it goes in between these 2 posts, up to the back, around the corner, around the tension and over. The second one's a heddled, so up, over the top bar, around the back bar, all the way down to my tension and around the corner. And before I go any further, I'm just going to grab my heddle, pop that on there, put that over there. I just tied up my warp strands a bit before I do the next 2 creams. Okay, right, next creams are again unheddled, straight through, round the back, over the tension, round the back bar and out to the front. Then from the front I need a heddle, so I'm back over the top, round the back, over my tension, over my back peg, and then that's the 4 strands for that section done for that colour cream. So I'll put that heddle over there, push these over, tidy up as we go. Okay, so I'm just going to tilt you up a little bit, now you can see, and then I'll move you around in a minute when I get onto the last repeat. Okay, so next colour is cream, because we've done 4 strands. You can see it's a lot thicker than the previous ones. So now I'm going on to grey. I'll move my cream out my way, and this is unheddled, heddled, unheddled, heddled, 1, oop, over the back, there we go, and over. Now I'm going over heddle, so I'm going over the top bar, over the back, round the corner, over the tension and round to my back bar. And then before I do the other 2 greys, I'm just going to tidy up my work. I need to grab this heddled warp strand and I want to go in there over the top, loop it over my heddle peg, and then that one's ready. So again, I want an unheddled and a heddled strand for this warp. So through the gap of these 2, round the back, over the tension, up and around the back bar. Repeat up to the front. Next one's a heddle, so the heddle I'm going over the top, round the back, over my tension peg, round that way, and then I'm going to swap that over because we're going to do the next repeat. Okay, so I just need to tidy this up, and while you're tidying all this up, what's going on here? Hold on a minute, it's not gone under, so I just need to hold on to these. So if you find a strand that hasn't slipped, it's not going where it should be, you can see that sat on there. So I'm going to have to ever so gently tease that so it flops back over, and hold on to my heddles so I don't lose all the work I've done so far, and pop them over there. Okay, that's fine. There is no problem with any of those at the moment. I can always look for that strand that may be a little bit loose when I come to tie it off and get started on my work, but I don't think there will be a problem. So we've done our 4 greys. We've just put the heddle over the top. I'm going to go and put the heddle over this now for that heddle warp, and there we go, that's that one in place. Next is cream, so we're repeating that 4 creams, 4 greys again. So this time under the heddle, around the back, over the tension and the back peg, and then round to the front. And next I want a heddle on this one next, so over the top, around the back, over the front, the tension peg and the back peg. And I'm just going to leave that there for a second while I just tidy up my work. Get the heddle out for the heddle that we've just done, heddle warp for this cream. Get another heddle I just have a batch of these all made up at the side for me just to pick up as I go along. And then I just constantly reuse them until I need to make up some new ones. So we're going to do cream again. Again, it is a unheddled. We need 4 creams altogether. I'm just going to push that over. 4 creams altogether. So I'm bringing that round the back, over the tension, round the back bar, up to the front. And this time is over the heddle, because I need a heddle on that one, over the top bar, around the back, over my tension, and around the back again, and up to the front. And then I'm just going to plonk that to one side and get ready for my grey. I need to do this last strand of these creams, and I'm going to put that on there, put that over the top, and put that on there. I'm going to tidy all these lot up. Because I'm using a 4-ply cotton, or a medium density cotton thickness, I have to just be constantly aware that I need the space, because it's a lot thicker than what I'm used to working with. Usually I work with like a lace weight thread or a silk. So you just have to be conscious that you want to keep a really good tension on these. You want to make sure that you've got a decent bounce, but you'll configure all that out. And when you get to the end, you just tighten up your tension peg a little bit towards you to help bring that neatness into your warp. So we are on the second grey colour. So you can see the first cream that we did to start with 4 creams, 4 greys, 4 creams. Now we're on to the grey. And then we have to repeat that one more time. So it's unheddled, over the back, over the tension, round the back, and then we go round the front. And the next one is heddled, so I want to go over the top beam, over the back, over the, why does it keep popping out from there? There we go. And then over the tension peg, round my back peg. And I'm just going to wrap that around there for a second while I just get the heddle, because we've got a heddled one here now. Push those over, and those over, and those over, and those over. Loop that over there, loop it over the top of the warp that we've just heddled up. Now just give it a little bit of tension to get going again, and an unheddled and a heddled one, around the back. Okay, and then one last of the grey for this repeat, over the top for a heddle, around the back, over the tension, and round the back peg and up to the front, and just put that there for a minute. And I'm going to push over my work. Okay, grab a heddle, pop that over there, pop that there. Right, we're on the last repeat now. So let's see, I'm trying to get you in a position where you can actually see what I'm doing with my heddle, or with my loom. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing now. This is the last repeat. So again, it's 4 creams, and it'll be unheddled, then it'll be heddled, then it'll be unheddled, and then it'll be heddled. And I'll repeat that for 4 times for the cream, and then I'll be doing the grey, and then that's that warp pattern finished. So I'm just going to push my warps over. Everybody's all heddled up, so just give this a bit of a tension from when I last used it, because it's been sat on the side. So unheddled through these 2, over the back, around this back peg, on over my tension peg, over to my last bottom peg, and then round to the front, and repeat that. But I'm going to go with a heddle this time, so I'm going over the top bar, round the back bar, round that one, follow the warp that I've already created in line sequence, and then just wrap that round there for a minute. Grab a heddle, pop that on there, pop that on there, and then just flip it over and push over my work over to give me some room to maneuver. So the next one again is under and around the back and over the front. So that was an unheddled or under the heddle peg. So I go over the top there, the top bar, around this back, around there, underneath and around my tension peg, under and around my back peg, and then that's 4 strands, that's 4 warp threads, and I'm just going to plonk that there for a second. We will be tying that all off in a minute. I need to get another heddle, so pop that on there, whip it over the top of here, and then loop it over there. Okay, so push all my threads over so they're all neat and tidy. These are the 4 last greys. They're going to unheddled, heddled, unheddled and heddled. So we're going to go in between for the unheddled, around the back, follow my line all the way across over the top of my tension peg, round the back and out the front. Next one I need a heddled, so I'll go over the top, round the back top, around this one, again over my tension peg, round the back and up the front. And I'm just going to hold that there for a second while I just get my tension peg, my heddle sorted out. Sorry, not my tension peg, my heddle sorted out. We've just done one, so we'll put that on there, put that over here, pop that over there, and then push my work back into place just to keep it neat and tidy. And those ones there, and these are the last 2 in the grey that we're going to be doing. So we're going to go under, over the back, around, over my tension, over my back bar and back over my front. And this is my last heddle warp over the top bar, around the back, follow my line, under and in there, around there, and then we're finished. Okay, so from that moment we get some scissors, and I'm going to cut a decent amount of length of this. There's the grey done, and cut some of the cream off. Okay, there we go. And what I want to work with first is grab the grey from where I tucked it in earlier on. So I'm just going to loosen off this peg a bit, and I'm going to take out these 2 strands that I tucked in there earlier on. Okay, can you see those? Okay, those are the 2 that I poked down the side of that peg earlier on when I first started, and I'm going to tighten that peg up now, and I'm going to get my grey strand, and I'm going to, hold on a sec, we need to do the heddle on this one. Let me just find the heddle that we've got. Just put that on there before we tie it up and finish it off. So pull that over, loop it up, there we go, all done, neat and tidy. I'll just tie this off. So what I do is a double square knot or a surgeon's knot. So I like to try and bring my knots round here so that it's at least a good inch away from my work. So if I just flip this over for a second, and because I've got a really good length of fibre on my starting strand, I'm going to come back here. Okay, I'm going to come back all the way here, and I'm going to twist this over once. I'm going to twist it under twice. I'm going to give it a really good pull, and then I'm going to, with my finger, hopefully create a bit of a tension that I can just tie a knot in that bit, and then tie a knot with the other strand in the opposite direction to just give it a bit more tension, and then grab my scissors and cut that. Give it about an inch length. And now I'm going to do the same with my cream. So here's the last cream that I had, and you just want to give it a bit of a gentle tug to make sure it's all a little bit eased off. So again, I'm going to get my cream, I'm going to bring it back a little bit further, and I'm going to twist it over and under twice. Just give it a little bit of a pull and try and create a bit of tension in my fingers so I can make a knot. Looking fiddly. Okay, looks like I was a little bit loosey-goosey in getting that strand. And then I'm going to, with the other piece of string, go through that way and tighten that off. Right, okay, get my scissors. All right, put that back up, twist that round. Now, let's see, you can use a bit of paper or some card. Okay, so what you want to do first is just double check that you've got a decent tension. There's not too much bounce. If you feel like there's too much bounce in your warp, just get your tension peg and pull forward as tightly as it will come towards you, and just give that a turn and hold that in place, and there you've got a bit more taut in your wool. Okay, a bit more taut, bit more tension in there in your warp. You want to grab your heddles and just push them all back so they're all neat and tidy and in a line. Then what you can do, if you feel that it helps you, is get your warp, and you want to open the top bit and cut yourself a couple of little thin strands of paper. Use one of my business cards if you've got one at home, and just slot that in like you would do if you were weaving on a loom. If you don't weave on a loom, don't worry about it. Just grab yourself a piece of paper, a bit of card. It's got to have a bit of stiffness to it. And then you want to do the opposite way. So you want to push down and open that at the bottom, and it'll just help you to create a bit more structure, because the fibers do crisscross over underneath, but don't worry about those because they all even out as you start weaving anyway. And then one more time if you want, I'll put that in there. Nope, push that all the way down. Okay, now I actually start on a lift up when I'm weaving, when I'm starting off. So I'm just going to cut myself another little thin strand of one of my business cards, an old one, and I'm going to push down, because I always start from my right side when I'm weaving, which means I lift up my my warp. So there you go. So what you can do from there is now start weaving, or what you could do if you wanted to was weave this on. But I'm just going to go and get, I need a little heddle, so I'm just going to borrow this one. And because we're using grey as the outside colours, and you can see that now, can you see all those thin stripes? Let's get you in for a close-up. Can you see now you've got the thin stripes here, where it was two creams, two greys, and then we've moved over here where it is thicker sections, where you have got 4 creams, 4 greys, 4 creams, 4 greys, 4 creams, 4 greys. So you've repeated from that box. So I'm just going to get my little heddle, my shuttle, sorry, and I'm just going to wind that up. Okay, so now we're going to start weaving. Okay, so I like to start on a up when I'm doing mine, and you come in with your shuttle and just bring over your thread. You want to leave a nice tail because you need to sew that in later on, so that's fine, just leave that like that, unravel a little bit. So next what you want to do is push down at the back, up behind your heddles here, and come in from behind and just pack down, leave a loop, Okay, leave a loop there to get started with. Then you want to lift up. I'm going to come in with my shuttle. I'm trying to lift it up a bit more. There we go. I'm going to lift up and I'm going to pack down just a little bit of pressure in there. But what I want to do now is pull this loop across. So I'm going to pull that loop so it creates a nice tidy gathering on the side. That's pushed down, and then I'm going to pull this through. I'm going to leave a loop on this side, and at the same time I'm just going to tease that straight so it sits down the bottom. Next I'm going to push down my warp in the back, and again I'm going to use my heddle just to put a little bit of pressure on there. And I'm going to now pull through this warp on this side, and you want to pull it across so that you end up creating a really nice tension within the warp, but you end up with no saggy ends at the back. There we go. We get no saggy ends at the back. It's a nice tension to it. You don't want any gaps in the edges here neither. So again, I'm going to leave a loop. I'm just going to bring that down, and then I'm going to lift up the back warp, the top. I'm going to lift up my warp now. I'm going to come in and push down just ever so gently, but enough to create a force and pressure, and pull over this warp this side and start bringing this in to help my tension up in the warp. Push that through to the other side, create a loop, not a massive loop, just a nice loop to be able to do the job. And again, push down your warp this time, and then pull over my loop, start bringing in that tension so there's not any gaps or sections that shouldn't be there. And then you will see that it will start to just angle off ever so slightly, but that's because you're now creating this lovely tension. So you're going to end up with a really good weave, and you can already see the zigzag waves brewing. So I've already done a down. I'm now coming in to do an up shaft. So through there again, doing it for a really awkward angle for me so you can see what it is that I'm doing. Now I want to grab this loop and pull it through. And again, I need to start thinking about this tension on the side. Bring that down, leave a loop on this side. Okay, down shaft, come in with my shuttle at the back, push that down with a little bit of pressure to help create a really nice weave. And there we go. Pull that through this side. Just a little bit of down pull on the strand as I'm bringing it through. And now I want to uplift. So I'm trying to do this without putting my arms in your way. So lift that up, open up that shaft to the top. Push down, give it a little bit of tension. Pull that loop back over and just give yourself a bit of tension in there. There we go. Again, create a loop, down shaft, bring that down, a little bit of force, a little bit of pressure, not force, and then pull this section through this loop so it gathers all at the side. I'm trying to get this so it's not showing any little gaps in this edging for me at the moment. There we go. So I'm coming back in from a top open shaft, bit of pressure, and then pull that all the way in, and then push through that side and leave a loop on this side. Down, through, pull, bring that back through this side, holding up my loop, just bring it, I like to, when I'm doing it, I like to just bring my edges down a little bit, give it a bit of a tug, but down the sides, okay, just so I've got a nice even tension and a balance going on in there. So now I'm in the up shaft, so I need to lift that, bring that down, pull this weft thread from the side here, okay, push that through there and create another loop. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with this. I'm going to turn this around so I can actually do it without twisting my back. Okay, so I'm on the down shaft, I'm going through, and I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure inside there, and then I'm going to pull my warp across and then do that side. Now I'm going to lift up my shaft at the back, a little bit of pressure, pull over my warp, okay, there we go, and then push that through that way. Open down shaft, pull through that strand and through this side, leaving a loop. Lift up my back, pull through from my strand, and there we go. And you just keep repeating that. You push up and straighten out your headles every so often, because sometimes they do fall forward. Pull that loop through, move that through, leave a loop, lift up my top, my up shaft, pull through my loop, create a nice neat edge and leave a loop on that side, push down and do that, and then you just keep repeating that till you get all the way to the end. If you need to move on your warp, just loosen your tension band a bit so it sort of seems to sag, and then as I've shown you before, just grab your warp, your work, and move that band around, okay, then tighten up your warp and then carry on. So I've been weaving away. I'm nearly at the end I've got the joins. I'll show you. I've got the joins are up the top here now, so I'm just doing this last bit. I've got a little bit of thread left on my shuttle, and I'm just going to finish off this weave when this finishes now. So just finish off these last bits. So down shaft, taper down a bit, pull that over, okay, and then up shaft. I just use the heddle there to give me a bit of purchase so I can actually pull that. Again, open the bottom shaft, pull that end over. That gets a bit tiresome after a while, wrapping around the tension knob. Again, up shaft, shuttle in, pull across, down shaft, bit of tension, pull those edges in, loop, up shaft, down a bit, pull that across, down shaft, okay, up, pull my loop, leave a loop, down shaft, up shaft, just a little bit of pressure on that weft through there, down shaft, there we go, up shaft, a little bit of pressure at the bottom, not a lot, you just want to make it so it battens together and that there's no gaps and there's a nice tension in there. Oh, right, so my last of my weft has come off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread that back through in that while it's an open shaft, and I'm going to put it through this way. Okay, and now I'm going to lift the shaft up and I'm going to put it back through that way, and then I'm going to pull my ends down, pull this side here, and this weft, this on a minute, where we go, I'm try and pull this down and open up this, pull down this warp that we've just done, and I'm just going to thread it through this loop on the other side, and I'm going to yank that through that way. There should be, pull this side in through this side on a second for the loop that I did originally. I'm going to just pull that through. Then I'm going to pull this loop on this side, which I've actually threaded this last strand through, and it will just save me from having to get my needle out and having to, I'm just double checking, I'm just going to do that to batten that down a bit. My end thread is in this last loop on this side, and I'm going to pull on that and then pull this last loop on this side, and there. Scissors next. So I literally just come in up the top in between those two. There we go. Done. Oh, and the bottom shaft. Yeah, there we go. Just gently pull them so they come out of my heddles. There we go. Easy peasy. Unravel. Take out these little bits of sticks, and that's something that I normally do. I find that they're a little bit of a hindrance for me, but that's up to you if you want to use them. And that we have our finished ends, and you can leave your strands like that, cut them a length, braid them, knot them at the ends, do twists on them, and there you have a wavy band. Starts off looking straight when you're setting it up together, but in actual fact comes out wavy both sides. I'm just going to trim up my ends over here, which should be fine for now. It only goes on my shelf anyway. So there you go. Sorry, but my camera's on a stand that I can put around my neck. So I thought I'd give it a try and film it so that you could actually see what I was doing, which was really hard for me because I had the camera here. It was facing down on there. And I'm having to turn my head like that so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I hope you got the gist of that bit. There was no noise or any talking on it. It's a bit of a silent section. And it's a little bit fast forwarded. But hopefully you got the gist of what it was I was trying to do. So what we at next? So there we go. Grey and cream. I hope you enjoyed that. These patterns you can get from the Inkle pattern directory if you get into that. The daisy one wasn't. I actually found that online, but you can go onto Pinterest and just type in a search for band weaver and Inkle loom patterns. And some people do their own patterns, and you can pinch or borrow them and do your own and experiment a little bit more if you want to go a little bit more technical than these. I'm not going to go down the picking up the warps as at this moment in time. What I plan to do is hunt out my tablet weaving cards. I've got some wooden ones, so what I might do the next time is get this warped up with my tablet weaving cards, and look for a really basic pattern just to get you started and help you understand how to translate the pattern into setting up the cards, because some you have to go through the back of the hole into the back of the board, some you come in from the front of it and then come through, and they're S and Z's, so they're all a little bit different. You might have 3 that come in from the back to the front, and you may have 1 that goes in from the front to the back just on one card. You could have 2 that goes in from the back and then 2 that come in from the front. It all gets a little bit technical, but yeah, so that's what I'm planning to do the next time I pop on for Back to Basics video. Next Wednesday, not tomorrow Wednesday, next Wednesday I will pop on for a live chat. If anybody would like to come over and join us on our live chat, I've put the settings so that you can only comment or leave comments if you're a subscriber to my channel. There are a couple of reasons behind that. My regulars understand why I've done that, but it's more for security and so that my followers and subscribers feel like it's a safe space to be. And especially for me, because I'm the person that actually has the channel, and it's getting a little bit silly the last couple of months with people going on there and trolling and not saying really nice comments. They're just really being pathetic and silly. So I have put a restriction on there. So if you want to come and join in on my live chats, come over and subscribe anyway. But if you want to come over and subscribe so you can join in the live chats, you're more than welcome to. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, hit that bell and subscribe, and you'll be alerted whenever I'm online. I'll put up a new video or a new reel. And liking the videos really do help my small channel to grow. When you like it, you're actually helping other people find me, and I go up the algorithms. I do not get paid for any videos on my YouTube channel. I do not get paid by Google Ads or by YouTube. It's all self-financed, though I do have Patreon where members can come over and I go into a bit more detail about different things that I do within my business, like blending my art bats and how I come up with my ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. So you're more than welcome to come over there. You can either join as a free member or you can join as a member and get your first 7 days free. You can get a rough idea of whether you want to commit to us, and it's £3 a month or £5 a month. But yeah, that's it. So thank you very much. You take care, and I will see you in a couple of weeks if you don't come and join me on my live chat. Take care for now.